Oh, Jowan, Jowan. Oh, what can I say? He is still my friend, even after all this. He just better end up doing something right. Or else no amount of my intervention is going to help him.
As you wish.
Alright. Vexus has gone up another level, and at 14, he can now choose a second specialization. For those of you who voted for this specialization, those who did not vote for the Blood Mage voted for the Arcane Warrior. So for that reason, and because it's my personal favorite of all the mage specializations, we will now also become an Arcane Warrior. So let's get our magic up here. And magic is even more important to us now because with the Arcane Warrior we now have combat magic. And what this means is we are now channeling magic into fighting prowess. So we can now double as a warrior. And for the purposes of weapons and armor, we no longer have to worry about being strong enough, because now our magic attribute becomes our strength attribute. So because of that, I will now switch to my alternate weapon set, and so I can switch between having a staff and being the normal kind of mage, and taking on sword and shield, or two swords, or a double-handed sword. It actually doesn't matter quite so much, because unlike the warriors and rogues, we can never get any real specializations towards a particular fighting style. So we're going to be kind of a jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to melee weapons. We can use any of them as we wish, but we can't really specialize in any of them. But just because it's fun, this is the green blade which the young boy Bevan gave to us. It's his father's... It's either his father's or his grandfather's sword. And he asked us to use it to slay the beasts. So we will equip ourselves with that sword. And for now, let's go with the double weapon specials technique. So we'll put a dagger in our other hand. So now we're a fighting melee mage, so to speak. And for now I'll leave the robes on, but you can also equip any kind of armor that you have enough magic to channel into. I think right now that's our spell power. Our magic is 35, so we have the equivalent of a strength of 35. And let's see, if we wanted to use either Armor of the Legion, we would require 42 magic. Juggernaut we're pretty close to, that's 38. So we'll keep these really nice pieces of armor around. And depending on whether the situation calls for it or not, we may end up putting on heavy armor. But the nice thing about being the Arcane Warrior is that now we're much more versatile in our choice of fighting style. So let's test this out, shall we?
Lightning bastard. This should be easy enough. Let's get started.
And of course, we can still cast magic.
Do you actually think you have a chance?
Even while we're fighting with melee weapons, as you can see. Now there are a couple things to keep in mind. As you saw during that battle, for some spells even with the swords in our hands, we can still cast them no problem. Other spells require us to sheathe our swords really quickly and in order to cast the spell, and then we draw our swords again. So there is a little bit more of a time delay if you're an Arcane Warrior and you're casting certain types of spells. The other thing to keep in mind is that even though we can wear heavy armor, there is still a fatigue penalty to our total mana. And so be aware of that. And if you're going to be wearing heavy armor, it behooves you to really pump up your willpower so that you get a very large mana pool. That said, as a blood mage, we also have the added ability of shifting our life force into use in our spells as well as mana. So that gives us a little bit more of a cushion. Also, the first thing you can get as an Arcane Warrior is combat magic. And when you activate this mode, basically, it will give you increased fatigue, so your mana pool goes down even further. But it provides you an attack bonus, and you can use your spell power rating to determine how much damage you're doing in combat. And so it shifts you even more toward a kind of middle ground where you're both a rather effective fighter and a semi-decent spellcaster at the same time. But again, you give up being able to specialize in either one.
Right.
But let's keep going. We still have a few more rooms of the Redcliffe Castle to explore. And let's see, I think the way directly in the main throne room, yeah, is blocked. I don't think we can... Nope, we can't pick our way through there either. We have to go through the dungeons, I believe, and make our way out into the courtyard.
Watch for the demons.
Ah.
Let's get started.
You know, maybe this isn't the best time to be thinking about this, but I've something to ask you. Chances are we'll be heading to Denerim soon. And when we're there, I wonder if we might be able to look someone up.
Actually, this was because... The reason he's talking about this now is because I accidentally clicked on him for a conversation. So, perhaps this is a somewhat bizarre time to speak about this, but, yeah, why not? Logain will get what's coming to him, Alistair, I promise you.
No, I know that. That's not what I'm talking about. The thing is, I have a sister, a half-sister. I told you about my mother, right? She was a servant at Redcliffe Castle and she had a daughter. Only, I never knew about her. I don't think she knew about me either. They kept my birth a secret, after all. But, after I became a Grey Warden, I did some checking and... well, I found out she's still alive. In Denerim.
Have you contacted her?
No. I thought about writing her, but I never did. And then we were called down to Ostagar, and I never got the chance. She's the only real family I have left. The only family not also mixed up in the whole royal thing. I've just been thinking that maybe it's time I went to see her. With the Blight coming and everything, I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to see her. Maybe I can help her. Warn her about the danger, I don't know.
What are you expecting she'll do?
I'm not sure. I don't know anything about her except her name and where she lives. Her name is Goldana, and I think she remarried but still lives just outside the alienage. If we're in the area, then, well, it's worth a look.
Alright, so, I was originally intending to wait till we got back to camp for that conversation, but, no worries. That is Alistair's quest.